Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Creative Katie, Karen Burchill. In today's video, we are going to make a DIY mini art journal out of a mini composition book. So these are mini composition books. They came in a 3-pack from Dollar Tree, but I did find some on Amazon at a good price point, and I will link those in the description box. When you are choosing a composition book to turn, you want it to be sewn, not glued together. That is really key. If it doesn't say it on the front of it or somewhere, open it up to the middle and see if you can find the stitching, and that will tell you that it is sewn. So don't bother with the glued ones. So I'm going to take this mini composition book and turn it into a mini art journal because I love creating small at times. Now, this one, the single pages measure 4.5 by 3.25, which is a little bit bigger than an artist trading card. Or you could do a double spread, which I particularly love, which is 6.5 by 4.5. And that is a really nice size. Working small means you can get it done in less time. There's less pressure. It's a composition book, so it's cost you pennies, to create. So there's very little risk, and that tends to free me up. It allows me to explore and experiment. So let's get back to prepping this book. You want to open it up to where the sewn stitching is, and you need to remove some of the pages. This is critical because they're going to bulk up as you create on them, and it's going to basically explode. It'll get too big. So I like to remove at least a third of the pages. So I started in the middle and I counted 2 to the left and 2 to the right. I ripped out very carefully the one and then pulled the matching page. If they're glued, it'll all fall apart at this stage. So you don't want the glued ones. This is why you want stitching. Now, remember, these are not high-end, high quality, so you have to pull out the pages and rip the pages very carefully and slowly. And like I said, there are 50 pages here. I think I removed about 17, 18 of the pages, and I'm happy with that. So I just count this way, rip the one side, go to the other side, and pull out the matching sheet. Rip it out, pull out the matching one on the other side, and just keep going till you get to the front and the back cover. Really quite easy. And these you can put a staple in them and use them as a notepad, collage with them, whatever. So the next step in prepping the mini composition book is to glue the pages together. And yes, I can hear you. It's tedious. And that's how I felt. But I'm using, this is Staples glue stick. I've also used Elmer's, Yoo-Hoo. You use whatever. And I put it on, and it's preferable if you put it on both pages, then use a key card, or I have a, the word is escaping me right now, tool to just make sure the adhesion is there. And I just keep working through the book. If you end up with an odd sheet out, you can put 3 together. That's up to you. I find 2 is enough. It's not going to be like mixed media paper, but I've worked on some larger size composition books and stuff, and at least glue 2 together. I find there's enough stability there for me to do whatever I do with my art journaling and mixed media. Now, you want to make sure as you go that the glue is completely dry and that the pages aren't sticking together. And I'll show you what I do to minimize that problem down the road. Bone folder, that's what it's called. Here, after a while, I've got out my heat tool and I'm just making sure that it's completely dry and making sure that none of the pages are sticking together because you don't want them to stick together permanently. So I just kind of do a few pages, go back, dry them, make sure they're not sticking together, and then proceed gluing the pages together so they're all glued up with a partner. And I think I did have an odd sheet out, and I ended up gluing that together with a two. So that page is a little thicker. That's okay. Just making sure that nothing sticks. And now we're ready to go to the next step, which is to give all the pages a coat of gesso. Now, you can skip this step and gesso it as you're creating. I like to gesso it all together. One mess, one cleanup. And I just use a brush and I'm brushing it. Now, my goal here isn't to totally get rid of the lines. It's just to bulk up the pages and prepare the pages for the wet medium. They're very thin pages, even with us gluing two together. There's not a whole lot of stability, and adding that coat of gesso really adds that stability to the pages, gives it some weight. And if you do it in a session like this, you minimize the cleanup and you just have to do it once. And I'm just working my way through and drawing each page as I go. Now I'm putting in between there, that is the insert from cereal boxes. You want to remove that before you glue it. Now, once everything, all the pages have been gessoed, I am standing my book up on its end and making sure again that nothing is sticking together. And I'm going to leave this overnight to let it dry completely before I'm going to do anything. It's a little damp. It takes a long time for it all to dry. And you can see the pages are wrinkled. That's just going to add some wonderful texture to the finished project down the road. So now I want to make a cover. So I could go in my stash, grab scrapbook paper. This is a gel print, and I can glue that on with gel medium if that's the way I want to go. But I have this masterboard that I created on sticker paper. So you could gel print on this sticker paper, or you can um, do a masterboard on it, and you just peel and stick. So I cut it to size roughly, and I'm making sure there's good adhesion and then cutting around it. But I find this sticker paper from Amazon is super sticky, super reliable, even once you've put some wet medium on it. So I will link what I buy in case you're looking for it, but I use the sticker paper a lot in my creations. And it just makes a quick, easy cover for composition books, stickers for an art journal page, what have you. The uses are, up to your own imagination. So here I've done the back cover, and I'm thinking I'm pretty much done the cover. Quick and easy. Now I got a little bit of white paint on that binding, the black binding, which I opted to keep in. So I'm just taking some black acrylic paint and retouching it up, getting rid of any of the marks. And then I want to edge around the edge with my black acrylic paint and my angle brush. And then I'm cleaning my craft mat because I do not want that black paint to get on the inside cover as much as possible. I want to minimize the mess. I grabbed a sentiment from my short and sweet sentiment pack. These are 1 to 4 word phrases. I just cut the one imagine. I figure that's a good one for a art journal. It's actually been printed on tissue paper, and I'm just gluing that down. And I thought I was done at this point. And then I decided the colors are a little too dull, a little too pastel for me. So I grab my Inktense blocks and I just wet it with water and I'm just tweaking the colors, bold, making them a little more bold. I'm using the orange and the pink that are already in that background on that gel, on that masterboard that I had created, but I want to make it brighter. I want my cover to be brighter. So that's what I'm doing. And this is one of the great uses for my Inktense blocks. I often overpaint when I've decoupage napkins on an art journal page or mixed media piece. They are like watercolor, as in they get activated by water, but unlike watercolor, they are permanent when they're dry. So when I seal this cover, these colors are not going to reactivate. They do not move or smudge. So I'm just adding some color here and rubbing it with my fingers, kind of knocking back some of it. And I'm a lot happier with the cover now. It was just a little too nothing. I'm just painting right over top of that tissue paper sentiment. Now I got rid of a lot of my white there, so I'm going to use this stencil brush from the Crafter's Workshop and this stencil Posies in a Row and stencil with white acrylic paint this flower motif. I think this is a nice addition to the background that I already have. So whether you use a gel print or a masterboard that you have, you can always adjust it to suit your perfect needs for what you are using it at. And I just love this Posies in a Row. It's adding that white back in, and I'm just very happy with my cover now. Putting some off the edge. Now I made a mess here, but because everything is permanent underneath, including that Inktense pen block, I can use a baby wipe, wipe it off, and then reapply the stencil afterwards. That's why I like my Inktense blocks. Now I'm putting a cover over top of the black binding, and I'm going to splatter with gold. I'm going to add a little bling to my cover because I love my bling. And that orange color goes really well with the orange and the pink that are already there. Once that's completely dry, I grab my fine line applicator bottle and I'm going to put a line all around the edge. This just finishes it off. It's something I like to do. I like the look, but again, if it's something that you do not like to do, why do it? Take whatever you like that I do and use it in your art. And if you don't like something I do, skip it. Now I grabbed some fluid gloss medium, which I typically don't use. I usually use matte. This is going to give a nice shiny finish. And I'm giving this a coat of varnish because I'm going to create in this. And if I get paint on it, I want to be able to wipe it off. And so by putting the varnish on, that's protecting the surface and making it possible. So now I have my mini composition book. And as I said, I'm probably going to do the double spread, and there are 15 of them in here. Now you could use them to have a themed journal. You could use it to use all the sentiments from one sentiment pack. You could use it as a technique journal. You could use it for anything. And well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to use this for, but you will see me very soon creating with this mini art journal. I can't believe that I never thought to make a mini art journal from this mini composition book before now. Until next time, go get creative.